And it's Memorial Day here at Bolticon. Let me, first of all, wish everybody a happy Memorial Day. And secondly, just encourage you to remember those who sacrificed their lives to whatever cause you hold dear. All seriousness aside, what did we do since last time I did this thing? I can't remember. There was not a lot of sleep involved last night, and I'm doing this before my morning coffee. While this is uploading, I've got to pack and eat and charge my phone, and check out and get to the one panel that is still on my must-see list. But in the meantime, just recapping yesterday, my afternoon started with James Gossard's screenwriting workshop, which was kind of rushed, but I really wish they would have given Mr. Gossard the time that he asked for. But he tried to teach all of screenwriting in 80 minutes. Fortunately, he had some handouts. It was all very useful information. I just got the sense that there was more information to be given that could have realistically been delivered without upsetting the whole schedule too much. But the good news is that he talked about the structure of a screenplay more than the format. He says, the format's the easy part. The structure, how a screenplay is written and how long it's got to be or how short it's got to be and what belongs in there and what doesn't. Well, it seems that with Aaron Dorter, I pretty much backed into it. I wrote a screenplay a little while back called Aaron Dorter, and it was my first attempt at doing something like this. And I see some things that I've got to do on the next draft, kind of over-direct from the screenplay. But outside of that, it's, did pretty much what Gossard recommends, so I'm feeling a little bit reinforced on that. Next thing I showed up for was the Usual Suspects performance of Avengers and Shawarma After. It is a riotous take on a movie that so much had it coming, and I'm sure it's been recorded. Could someone send a link? Because I would watch that again. It was a pisser. And Flash as someone who actually answers to the name Flash, playing Nick Fury. There's a copyright infringement suit there somewhere. And the next thing I went to was the marketing and promotions panel with Jean Marie Ward and Ian Randall Strock. It's pronounced Ian. And Cecilia Tan. The takeaway from that panel is get reviews. And that's, I think, where I've been remiss, where I've been falling down, and be correcting that. So if I hit you up for a review, please understand that I will not stop. I will not go away until you review my book. I don't care if you think it sucks. I am just going to pound that review out of you. Needed to be said. I then went to dinner with my new friend Cecilia Tan and her retinue, which included my longtime Facebook friend, whom I don't recall ever meeting in real life, but he insists we did meet at least once at some point. He can't remember where either. But his name's Bernie, I don't know how to pronounce his last name, Mojzes, Moises. Anyway, he and his wife Linda, who apparently kept her maiden name. Good move, Linda. And pretty much everyone at that table had a good taste for Tennessee Rye, which was my poison of choice last night. Well, I didn't go through nearly as much of that as I thought I did. Look, I got like 4 panels sloshed on like this. No, that there is an advantage to not actually having to do panels, like I skated on this weekend. So anyway, not that that ever stopped me. I digress. So after dinner, dropped by another panel called Book Promotion, which, if that sounds a lot like marketing and promotion, well, it was. It was basically the same panel with Cecilia stepping off and Michael A. Ventrella getting behind the table. And I dropped by there because essentially I promised Jean Marie and Ian that I would, and so I did. But my real reason for being there is it was in the same room as the Doctor Who programming that started immediately afterwards, and there was an hour panel discussion on the last 4 Doctors and their companions, and then 2 hours of complete geek out to my personal favorite Doctor, Peter Davison, and I enjoyed the company of Jacqueline Stanley, who goes by Lady Ozma, and a fellow Peter Davison aficionado. So that was good, having someone to shout back at the screen all the things that I was thinking. She's fast. I mean, hard to keep up. All right, so I mean with one-liners. I mean, it's shouting back at the screen. Anyway, I have one panel that I really want to go to today, partly because Daryl Schweitzer's on it, and he's always entertaining with his dry as dust wit, and but I really like the topic. Someone put some thought into this topic. I mean, usually when you go to these conventions, it's the same subjects, almost in the same order, year after year, con after con on the circuit. And rather than having something called current trends in science fiction, someone actually put a stake in the ground and said, well, here's a trend in particular, and we're going to discuss it rather than try to just hope something interesting pops into our heads between now and the time they start the clock. So anyway, the topic is science fiction giving up on the future? And we're talking about we'll be talking about the dystopian tendencies and the move towards fantasy and to past and to alternate presents and to alternate pasts, you know, the whole steampunk phenomenon. So that sounds interesting. And I've got to tell you, steampunk has lasted a whole lot longer than I ever figured it would. I mean, it's what, 25 years since the Difference engine came out. It's amazing, just what kind of legs it's got, and it doesn't show any sign of slacking. But I'd really like to get the panel's view of when this is going to run the course, and when are we going to start looking again to a hopeful future, or even a future that that advances the technology and the ethos that we have today. It's really amazing, because if you think about it, okay, we don't have our jetpacks and we don't have our flying cars, but contrary to all predictions, well, certainly my predictions, we have got a far more advanced technology now than we did even 5 or 10 years ago. And we've got civilization has not crumbled, and if you're of one political stripe, you figured that George Bush was the end of civilization, and if you're the other one, you believe that Barack Obama is the end of civilization, and yet things still seem to be moving along hopefully. despite our leaders' best attempts to derail them. So yeah, this sounds like an interesting panel, and I don't know if I'm going to get a chance to report on it later, but I'm going to start blogging more often, and so you're just going to have to read it. I'm a writer. I write. Please read. And if you're looking for something to read, oh, yeah, it's in here somewhere. Age of Certainty, edited by yours truly, and it's in print and ebook from Rebel Publishers, available at Amazon.com. So is part one of my serialized ebook, soon to be a single bound edition of Mighty Mighty, again available from Rebel Publishers or online at Amazon. And enjoy.